Wednesday, July 8th, 1942. Dear Kitty, years seem to have passed between Sunday and now. So much has happened. It is just as if the whole world has turned upside down. But I am still alive, Kitty, and that is the main thing, Daddy says. Yes, I'm still alive indeed, but I don't ask where or how. You wouldn't understand a word, so I will begin by telling you what happened on Sunday afternoon. At 3 o'clock, Harry had just gone, but was coming back later. Someone rang the front doorbell. I was lying lazily reading a book on the veranda in the sunshine, so I didn't hear it. A bit later, Margot appeared at the kitchen door, looking very excited. The SS have sent a call-up notice for Daddy, she whispered. Mummy has gone to see Mr. Van Daan already. Van Daan is a friend who works with Daddy in the business. It was a great shock to me, a call-up. Everyone knows what that means. I picture concentration camps and lonely cells. Should we allow him to be doomed to this? Of course he won't go, declared Margot, while we waited together. Mummy has gone to the Van Daans to discuss whether we should move into our hiding place tomorrow. Van Daans are going with us, so we shall be 7 in all. Silence. We couldn't talk anymore, thinking about Daddy, who, little knowing what was going on, was visiting some old people in the Jude's Invalid, waiting for Mummy. The heat and suspense all made us very overawed and silent. Suddenly the bell rang again. That is Harry, I said. Don't open the door, Margot held me back, and it was not necessary, as we heard Mummy and Mr. Van Daan downstairs talking to Harry. Then they came in and closed the door behind them. Each time the bell went, Margot or I had to creep softly down to see if it was Daddy, not opening the door to anyone else. Margot and I were sent out of the room. Van Daan wanted to talk to Mummy alone. When we were alone together in our bedroom, Margot told me that the call-up was not for Daddy, but for her. I was more frightened than ever and began to cry. Margot was 16. Would they really take girls of that age away alone? But thank goodness she won't go, Mummy said so herself. That must be what Daddy meant when he talked about us going into hiding. Into hiding? Where would we go? In a town or the country? In a house or a cottage? When? How? Where? These were questions I was not allowed to ask, but I couldn't get them out of my mind. Margot and I began to pack some of our most vital belongings into a school satchel. The first thing I put in was this diary, then hair curlers, handkerchiefs, school books, a comb, old letters. I put in the craziest things with the idea that we were going into hiding. But I'm not sorry. Memories mean more to me than dresses. At 5 o'clock, Daddy finally arrived, and we phoned Mr. Coopvius to ask if he could come around in the evening. Van Daan went and fetched Miep. Miep has been in the business with Daddy since 1933 and has become a close friend, likewise her brand-new husband, Hank. Miep came and took some shoes, dresses, coats, underwear, and stockings away in her bag, promising to return in the evening. Then silence fell on the house. Not one of us felt like eating anything. It was still hot, and everything was very strange. We let our large upstairs room to a certain Mr. Goodsmith, a divorced man in his 30s, who appeared to have nothing to do on this particular evening. We simply could not get rid of him without being rude. He hung about until 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, Miep and Hank Van Santen arrived. Once again, shoes, stockings, books, and underclothes disappeared into Miep's bag and Hank's deep pockets, and at 11:30, they too disappeared. I was dog-tired, and although I knew that it would be my last night in my own bed, I fell asleep immediately and didn't wake up until Mummy called me at 5:30 the next morning. Luckily, it was not so hot as Sunday. Warm rain fell steadily all day. We put on heaps of clothes as if we were going to the North Pole, the sole reason being to take clothes with us. No Jew in our situation would have dreamed of going out with a suitcase full of clothing. I had on 2 vests, 3 pairs of pants, a dress, on top of that a skirt, jacket, summer coat, 2 pairs of stockings, lace-up shoes, woolly cap, scarf, and still more. I was nearly stifled before we started, but no one inquired about that. Continue tomorrow. Yours, Anne.